Good afternoon and welcome to Nationwide. We thank you for joining us. I am Lydia Odije Ochi. A meeting of Nigeria's highest policy decision-making body, the Federal Executive Council, has been convened. President Muhammadu Buhari presides over the meeting held virtually for the 6th time. Alongside the President in Council chambers are the Vice President, the National Security Advisor, and 11 ministers. As expected, other members of the Council are participating in the meeting online from their operational bases across the nation's capital, Abuja. Several memoranda from ministries, departments, and agencies are expected to be considered for possible approval in furtherance of the next level agenda. Some ministers are also billed to present their scorecards to the Council as part of efforts to ascertain the level of execution of various presidential mandate areas. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that a moment of silence was observed in honor of the late Alhaji Inuwa Abdulkadir, former National Vice Chairman of the governing APC. We'll bring you details in our subsequent bulletin. Businesses are expected to receive a boost as life is gradually returning to the aviation sector. Benny Adams was at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, to see firsthand the resumption of flights to and from Abuja.
5 of the 9 local commercial airlines took to the skies, shuttling Lagos and Abuja in what can be described as a balance between health and wealth. From the terminal entrance of the domestic wing of Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, passengers are expected to have their face masks on, wash their hands, and maintain social distancing, which officials ensure compliance, aided by floor markings of 2 meters apart. This is also being adhered to at ticketing and boarding pass collection points, the waiting room down to boarding. On who bears the burden of the spacing in the aircraft in relation to cost, Captain Rabiu Yadudu says it's going to be a balance if need be, but maintain that the airfare remains same.
Nobody was going to set out just to extort or exploit the situation. We want to make sure that it remains a profitable and reasonable business.
Both officials and passengers are glad that life is gradually returning to normal.
It feels really good to be back flying here after so much, wait and suspense, and this whole COVID thing has really put reality back into everybody's eyes.
I'm going for a business meeting in Lagos, and I'm actually happy.
Officials say other routes into the remaining 4 of the 6 designated airports will reopen beginning from this weekend. Benny Adams.
Thank you for that report. Benny is here in the studio with me. Now, tell us, what was the general mood at Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport?
Well, to say the least, it was an exciting mood, particularly for travelers, for the workers, security people working there. It's been 3 months since this happened. The skies have been shut, no travels, a lot of businesses are stopped. So I spoke to some passengers today. They were actually excited coming in from Lagos, and those in Abuja going to Lagos to transact 1 or 2 businesses. I met someone who had a problem with his international passport. He can't correct it in Lagos. He had to wait for this time to come to the headquarters here in Abuja to get to fix that. He was actually excited. And looking at the new normal now, which is wearing of face masks, the hand washing, and all of that, it was a normal thing going through all the processes at the airport this morning.
Okay, now talking about the processes, did you observe any breach in protocol?
I did not see any of such. We had officials of the airport, the fan officials, we had security people at every point to ensure that all the protocol as prescribed by the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 are adhered to, like wearing of face masks. From the entrance of the terminal entrance, you have to wear your face mask, and you have hand washing points. After that, extra security is some sanitizing points where you need to sanitize before you gain access. There were also security checks to ensure that we didn't have such breach at the airport. And at every point, you had to be checked and you had to queue observing all the distancing, 2 meters far apart.
Okay, nice to know that Nigerians were obedient of all.
They were. It was actually a test of their patience.
Wonderful. Now, from your observations, what advice do you have for intending passengers?
Well, for intending passengers following the new normal that we have, you have to embark on the trip early. 3 hours before time. It is very necessary because you have to go through processes. From the very first process of washing your hands, to sanitizing, to the security check, to ticketing, to getting your boarding pass, going through the waiting room, down through the chambers. It's a whole long queue. It takes a process, so it's a longer process. So once you are there earlier, it's better for you. Okay. And with the confidence that was built today with what people saw happen, I think more people will be out. We didn't have the usual influx of people getting to travel.
Okay. Did you observe any touts?
There were no touts. The airport was generally scanty, to say. I think intending passengers got there earlier, so people handled their baggages. You could only see transporters hanging at their own waiting section, waiting for passengers who are coming in and those who have alerted and traveling to town. But there was no presence of such touts.
Okay, now Lagos has more on flight resumptions. Did you see, from what you could see, did you see a lot of passengers trying to fly?
We saw a good number of passengers coming in from Lagos from the first flight, but from the Abuja end, we had a lesser number. I think where we had a seating capacity in the waiting room, where you had seating capacity of about 540, you could see just about 300 people plus. And I had the opportunity of getting into the aircraft, and you could see a whole lot of scanty seats, being that the distancing of one seat empty was also observed in the aircraft. You still had empty seats.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Benny Adams, for giving us an update. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.
Talking with Benny Adams, our reporter. You're watching Nationwide. Lagos Studio is our first port of call, and Hingino will be our guide.
Thank you, Lydia. We're also beginning with resumption of domestic flights. Domestic flight operations have resumed at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos, after more than 3 months of closure owing to the COVID-19 pandemic. Michael Olale reports that there is high sense of assurance by passengers based on the safety measures put in place.
The cloud eclipsing flight operations for the past 3 months is gradually subsiding and giving way to new norms. Observing physical distancing, temperature checks, and compulsory use of face masks are now the new order of protocol at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, and the high premium placed on them is quite above luggage checks.
You can see the order now, and this is a standard in any international airport.
The conventional announcement from the public address system now include instructions on COVID-19 safety tips for passengers while accessing the waiting lounge, requiring compulsory use of polythene to keep items.
And everything you touch, you are given a sanitizer to really cleanse your hands. So I think it's good.
If they could be properly educated how to put on their mask properly, when and how often to use the hand sanitizers, and then I think they have done their best.
Airline operators are optimistic that the measures put in place are enough to guarantee safety.
For a start, it's not likely we are going to have a full flight for the first few days, so we look at how things develop. But for now, it's above average, so at least because the flight is not full, you see spaces. But as the traffic pick up, I'm sure the airline will strategize and know what to do about the physical distancing.
If they create spacing, actually the fares must go high. But I think the NCDC rules, they are actually not going to be any spacing. Any passenger that will board any of the aircraft must abide by rule aviation, which means they must wear their face mask.
For now, only 2 airlines operate from the General Aviation Terminal. More airlines will definitely join, just as we expect an increase in the number of passengers in the coming days. In Lagos, Michael Olale, NTA News.
Now, away from the aviation sector, the Ajakuta-Kano-Kaduna AKK gas pipeline project, a brainchild of President Muhammadu Buhari, when fully operational, will bridge the gap in gas utilization and reduce social vices. Annie Daniels in this report takes a look at this all-important project and the gains accruable.
Lagos State, described as the economic hub of Africa, is a home to several organizations and industries. The state records high number of people migrating into it daily, thereby increasing the demand and supply for goods and services, including domestic gas. Respondents commended the federal government with the hope that the projects will make the products readily available and affordable. More heartwarming, according to the people, is that the projects will take many youths out of the labor market.
The people consuming the gas here are much here in Lagos, and it will help to grow our business.
Gas is so versatile. You can, of course, it powers the cars. You can use gas for cooking, especially cooking in our homes, rather than cutting down trees to use firewood to cook.
The 40-inch diameter, 614-kilometer-long gas pipeline project by President Muhammadu Buhari is a major infrastructure boost and a fulfillment of his promise on economic diversification.
Developing a pipeline project like this, will benefit everybody, whether you're from south, southeast, or moreover, it will increase the domestic earning of the country, and also more money will go to the federal government, state government and local government. So everybody will share from the proceeds. So I think it should be allowed and it should be supported by everybody.
Engagement must be continuous. Consultation must be continuous. All these activities are not one-off thing and then you go and rest.
There's a need to ensure that the source of gas, that's the Niger Delta, is kept calm.
The $2.8 billion project represents phase one of the 1,300-kilometer-long Trans-Nigerian gas pipeline project being developed as part of Nigeria's gas master plan. In Lagos, Annie Daniels, NTA News.
That's it from here. We now take a break. Nationwide continues shortly.
Education is the most powerful weapon with which you can change the world. Today, there is a compelling need to seek for the right tools and resources for education amidst COVID-19 and beyond. And the answer is the Retooling Learning and Education Summit. The Albino Foundation and partners invite you to meet and interact with experts and technocrats home and abroad for a 2-day webinar to examine and find lasting solutions to the education industry. Zoom in on July 9 to 10, 2020, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. daily, free on the Zoom virtual platform, but registration required. Special guest of honor and keynote speakers include the Honorable Ministers of Education, Science and Technology, Communications and Digital Economy, and Women Affairs. Please contact Jake Epele 0803-533-5444, Ebi Eliazenya 0817-806-2609. Email jake@albinofoundation.org. The Retooling Learning and Education Summit live. Zoom in to join us.
This is a very important message. Operation Wear Your Mask, especially for people who don't old. No forget, your body no tranga like before. You not even tranga like your children or your grandchildren. So therefore, always wear your mask for this pandemic period. No they to receive visitors, so even if not your grandchildren. Make extra mask where you go fit wash. Make like 2 and dash your neighbor 1. And if they come out for house, wear your mask always. And if you come back, wash your hand with soap and running water to avoid coronavirus. Make you for live long for your children and your grandchildren. Don't forget, Operation Wear Your Mask, especially for people who don't old. Protect me, I protect you. Now, Coalition of Societies for the Right of Older Persons in Nigeria, COSROPIN, join body with National Orientation Agency, NOA, bring on this message.
We have observed the lockdown. We have practiced the measures in order to curb the spread of the virus, but we can do better. The coronavirus spread is increasing daily, and only together can we cut down the numbers and defeat the spread of the virus. Remember, COVID-19 is not a death sentence, and a recovered patient cannot spread the disease. Do not stigmatize. Do not hesitate to report any case or if you have come in contact with anybody that has been infected with COVID-19. If you have cough and fever, please stay at home and call your state hotline. Find state numbers at www.covid19.ncdc.gov.ng. Remember, it is for your own good and for the good of every Nigerian. Let us do better and defeat the virus. Together, we can do this. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
Welcome Newcastle to the Etihad Stadium on Premier League Live, showing on NTA this Wednesday from 5:30 p.m. The Premier League Live is brought to you by Access Bank and Baba Ijebu.
Welcome back. Nationwide continues in Abuja. We'll now join our correspondent live who went round to examine the preparedness of schools for resumption. And Hadiza Gowin Ebune is who I'm going to be joining. Hadiza, thank you for joining us on Nationwide. Now, going by the federal government's intention to reopen schools for certain category of students in the country, how prepared are schools for the resumption regarding safety precautions expected to be put in place for the students and teachers' safety? Hadiza.
Okay, earlier on, I visited some school, junior secondary school, area 11. And presently, I'm at government secondary school, Tudunwada. Nothing has been put in place yet.
Okay, now.
But some private schools visited.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Okay, some private schools visited. Some have put in place the walk-through tunnel of this decontaminator. They've put that in place while others are still working on their walk-through decontaminator.
Okay, now, do we have...
that they've done, and...
If you can get me clearly, Hadiza, now tell us, do we have any task force in place to monitor schools' compliance from your observations?
Yes, the FCT, the director FCT UBEB says they've brought up a committee that will go around schools, that hand sanitizers, surface sanitizers will be provided, and face masks will be provided to students before resumption.
Okay, thank you so much for your observations, Hadiza. Thank you much indeed. Now, Nigeria's aspiration in reaching global destination in energy diversification and improvement in power generation for domestic consumption to meet critical future reserves is gradually being realized. These were opinions of guests on NTA's Tuesday Live on prospects of national economy and multidimensional impact of AKK gas pipeline in Ajaokuta, Kaduna, and Kano. Abubakar Usman Akwanga reports that massive employment generation is another fruitful component within the value chain of the project.
Ajaokuta, Kaduna, and Kano gas pipeline project is valued at $2.8 billion and designed to cover 614 kilometers. Phase 1 of the project will cover 200-kilometer stretch between Ajaokuta and Abuja terminal gas station at a cost of $855 million. Phase 2 will comprise 193-kilometer long section between Abuja and Kaduna at a cost of approximately $835 million, while Phase 3 covers 221-kilometer long section between the Kaduna terminal gas station, estimated at $1.2 billion. Guests say the project will provide more energy sources, diversify revenue, revive hailing industries, and generate massive employment.
A lot of companies in the 70s and the 80s in Kaduna, today they are shut down. Why? Because they can't compete. You know, if we have gas pipelines, some of these companies actually can revitalize. They can come back to life.
I commend the domestic plan to use Nigerian gas. We cannot hand the type of money we hand from oil from natural gas. But natural gas can make more impact on our economy than the money we are handing from abroad.
The project, which was described as the single largest investment in the history of Nigeria's gas sector, experts say will sustain economic vehicle for stabilizing domestic consumption and producing surplus for export.
The reason why the industries are bubbling in Lagos and these environs is got to do with the fact there is source of energy, and this energy is gas.
There is need to be a massive public education and awareness. Even this program is one of such. Approach that vandalization at your own risks.
The project will arguably unlock approximately 2.2 billion cubic feet of gas to the domestic market, support the addition of 3,600 megawatts of power to the national grid, as well as help with the revitalization of textile industries, which alone boosts more than 3 million jobs in parts of the country. In Abuja, Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
Next, NCDC update. The NCDC has confirmed 503 new cases of COVID-19 as at 7th of July 2020. Of the new cases recorded, Lagos has 153 cases, Ondo 76, Edo 54, FCT 41, Enugu 37, Benue 24, Osun 20, and Kaduna 15. Others include Kwara 13, Abia 9, Borno 8, Plateau 6, Taraba 5, Ogun and Kano 3 each, Kebbi and Nasarawa 2 each, while Bayelsa and Gombe 1 each. So far, Nigeria has 29,879 confirmed cases of COVID-19, with 12,108 patients discharged and 669 deaths recorded so far. Organizational synergy is vital towards achieving success in the fight against COVID-19. To this end, Victims Support Fund donated medical equipment to the Federal Capital Territory Administration. Haman Jamani has more.
May coronavirus be a thing of the past.
This presentation of medical equipment put at 56 million naira to Federal Capital Territory Administration by the Victims Support Fund VSF is the second phase of its distribution of palliative in the fight against COVID-19. Chairman, Victim Support Fund, General T.Y. Denjuma, represented, said it is hoped that the cases of COVID-19 will reduce with these donations, while health workers will be protected, as the VSF will continue to deploy sensitization campaigns to advise the populace on the need to adhere to COVID-19 protocols.
You will discover that health facilities in Nigeria have been overstretched in terms of personnel, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of drugs and everything. So this is our own support from the Presidential Committee on the Victim Support Fund in order to assist the government and the people of the FCT so that they can be able to receive adequate medical attention.
This is a second part of our intervention in FCT, where we gave food before, now we are bringing the medical items.
This thing that has been donated will be used judiciously. None of it will be wasted. And it will get to the people that are supposed to assess them, because the government of the day is a prudent one. And we're not going to relent in that regard.
The medical consumables and devices handed over include medicine for primary and secondary medcare, medical devices, and PPEs. Hamman Jabani, NTA News.
From Owerri, the Imo State Governor, Hope Uzodinma, has lifted the ban on operation of major markets in the state, directing that trading activities can now take place 3 times a week. He made this known while reviewing the level of compliance to the NCDC rules on COVID-19 at a meeting with leadership of the various markets. Bright Ebocho has more.
As part of efforts towards curtailing the spread of COVID-19, the Imo State government placed a ban on operations of major markets in the state. Governor Hope Uzodinma, while reviewing the directive at a meeting with the market leadership, assures of government's commitment to the well-being of the people. He notes that the level of compliance to measures against COVID-19 has been impressive, hence the reopening, and further assures of continued effort in attracting federal government social intervention initiative for traders to support their businesses.
I have seen that social interventions like trader money has not come to Imo State. I have seen that all the interest-free loans given to petty traders and medium and small scale industries are not coming to Imo State. I have agreed with the Vice President, and he has assured me that the moment this list is compiled, he will come personally to extend all these loans.
Chairman Imo State Market Association, Chief Don Chris Okere, assures the governor of their commitment to the fight against COVID-19.
Most of the markets have prepared themselves with wash-hand pockets. Some have gone to the length of buying thermometers, temperature meters, to be able to guard themselves.
With the lifting of ban, the major markets will now open every Monday, Wednesday and Friday till further notice. In Owerri, Bright Ebuchu, NTA News.
We now go to Enugu, and Mina is standing by. Hello, Mina.
Hello, Lydia. Good evening and welcome to Enugu. A total of 77 inmates of the Enugu and Osoka correctional centers have regained freedom at the recently concluded jail delivery exercise embarked upon by the Enugu State Chief Judge, Justice Priscilla Emehelu, and other judges of the Enugu State High Court. Chidimma Madu reports.
High congestion in virtually all the correctional centers in the country has continued to expose inmates to endemic diseases, lack of reforms, and transmission of bad habits, among other risks. Out of the 77 inmates who regained their freedom, 53 were granted bail, while 24 others were discharged unconditionally. Enugu State Chief Judge Justice Priscilla Emehelu regretted that 76 inmates who were granted bail since 2016 are yet to fulfill the bail conditions and called on their relatives to expedite action in perfecting the bail conditions. The Chief Judge further commended the officers and men of the correctional centers for their efforts in ensuring that no single case of COVID-19 had been recorded in the centers.
As part of our commitment to effective justice delivery is the need to visit the custodial centers periodically to provide bail and, in some cases, outright discharge or release for inmates who have exceeded their required term or terms if they had been convicted.
The controller Enugu Correctional Center, Chinedu Emelue, described the CJ's visit as apt and advised the inmates to make good use of the second chance given to them to become better and reformed individuals. In Enugu, Chidima Madu, NTA News.
As part of its contribution to cushioning the effect of COVID-19 on communities, the Nigerian Army 82 Division has donated palliatives to the people of Abakbanike community in Enugu State. Elizabeth Adetoro reports that the General Officer commanding 82 Division presented the palliatives to the community at the Igwe's Palace.
Distributing the palliatives at the Igwe's Palace, the GOC Major General Lasisi Adegboye says the gesture is part of the Chief of Army Staff's vision to foster civil-military cooperation, as well as offering humanitarian services to communities across the country.
This distribution of palliatives, which is part of our civil-military cooperation, related activities and quick impact projects, is taking place simultaneously in various parts of the country in support of the civil populace.
Receiving the palliatives, the traditional ruler, Igwe Julius Naji, and his cabinets who were on hand expressed joy over the gesture and offered prayers of blessings to the division.
On the medical part, they have made it almost a yearly or 2 years point that they would come here and look after my people.
The beneficiaries could not hide their joy, describing the gesture as a big relief to better their lives.
Thank God for everything, because I know it's our God that touched them to help the poor.
The gesture is also part of activities marking Army Day Celebration 2020. In Enugu, Elizabeth Adetoro, NTA News.
And that does it from here. Nationwide continues with you, Lydia, in Abuja.
Many thanks, Mina. Efforts by the Bauchi state government to find lasting solution to the recent farmers-herders clash in Misau local government area is progressing as the committee constituted by the state government to investigate causes of the conflict has commenced work by inviting written and oral submissions from stakeholders. Abbas Mekano accompanied the 13-man investigative panel led by Air Commodore Tijani Baba Gamawa to the affected areas. And now reports.
The committee, which is sitting in Misau, headquarters of the local government, is to recommend measures to avoid future occurrence of the clash, which claimed the lives of 9 people and left others injured. Other terms of reference include to determine the extent of encroachment on the Malanje Games Reserve in Zadawa village, and also to investigate and determine the people or authority purported to have allocated out the portion of the forest reserve, as well as the beneficiaries of the illegal allocation. The committee has also been mandated to determine the cattle routes within the forest reserve and identify areas of encroachment by farmers. While emphasizing that the committee has no intention of witch-hunting anybody or group, the chairman, Tijani Baba Gamawa, assured fair and just treatment to all the parties involved during the investigation process.
And whatever we are going to do, we'll do it within the law and order, and we'll do it within the ambit of law. So we assure the people of Misau, we are not here to witch-hunt anybody, we are not here to destroy anybody. We are not sent here to come and destroy anybody. We are here to do our job.
The committee is also mandated to provide permanent solution to end herders-farmers clash in the local government and to stop future encroachment of forest reserve. In Misau, Abbas Mekano, NTA News.
Felicia in Jos is standing by with stories making the rounds from that zone. Felicia?
Thank you, Lydia. Welcome to Jos. To meet the defense needs of Nigeria as well as train young officers for the Nigerian Army, the Nigerian Defense Academy Kaduna has commenced a 2-week adventure and leadership training for cadets of 67 regular course and short service course 46 at the Citizenship and Leadership Center, Sherry Hills, Jos. The Commandant, Nigerian Defense Academy, Major General Jamil Sarham, urged the cadets to exhibit high sense of discipline and commitment during the exercise. A Cameron Kaneng Ladoja reports.
The exercise Camp Highland is designed to test cadets' leadership qualities, endurance, map reading, command and control capabilities, amongst other military skills. This therefore saw the cadets having involved in exercise such as maneuvering the assault course, which involves 13 activities to test their agility as well as their decision-making capability under duress.
Out. Don't put your legs on the out. Full water. In is down. Out. Up. In, out. Go together. In, out. In, out.
For the Nigerian Defense Academy, this exercise is also a major platform to ascertain those who will be worthy of bearing the title as well as adorning the uniform of the Nigeria Armed Forces, to which the commandant of the academy expressed satisfaction at the exercise as well as the performance of the cadets.
The Sherry Hill activity is geared towards testing their ability to work as a team, exhibit leadership traits, of course, at the prying eyes of their instructors, who will assess them and then find them suitable for commission into the Nigerian Army.
There are 630 cadets enrolled for the exercise Camp Highland, with emphasis on upholding the COVID-19 safety protocol. From Sherry Hills, Ekemeren Kaneng Ladoja, NTA News.
Indiscriminate disposal of waste, building on waterways and other negative human activities on the environment are some of the factors responsible for flooding. To this end, Plateau State residents are being sensitized on the need to observe some precautionary measures to mitigate the effects of flooding. Kim Godds reports.
Information of the 2020 seasonal rainfall prediction released by the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET, indicates that February 24th and June 22nd are the predicted onset of rainfall in the south-south and northern states respectively, while the predicted cessation dates falls between September 26th and December 28th respectively, implying that Nigeria is likely to experience prolonged period of rainy season in the year 2020. Plateau is one of the states identified by the agency to experience flooding. In that regard, the Plateau State Emergency Management Agency says flood mitigating practices and sensitization awareness programs are underway, as 7 local government areas of the state have been identified as flood-prone areas.
We have set out some of our workforce in collaboration with NEMA to go for assessment exercise in these affected local governments which are prone to flooding.
Opening drainages, removal of structures within flood plains, and proper disposal of waste is key in averting flooding.
We're going to work in collaboration with JNDB to see if there are new structures that have come up and in waterways. We definitely will have to demolish them and clear them so that we can have free flow of water when it comes.
Flooding is a global environmental issue enhanced by rainfall, geology, and topography of an area. In Jos, Kim Godz, NTA News.
Still on to nationwide, and Ibadan is our next stop, where Lanre is standing by with reports from that zone. But after the break.
The number of the COVID-19 cases in Nigeria is increasing daily, with many more tests ongoing. The battle of testing, isolating, treating, and attending to the affected persons rests heavily on the shoulders of our health workers, constantly putting their lives on the line and at risk to contain this virus, save and protect the lives of millions of Nigerians. To these health workers, we at the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, on behalf of millions of Nigerians, say a big thank you for all that you have done and are doing. To the security agencies enforcing the lockdown and every other frontliner, we say thank you for putting your lives on the line to save ours. There is no amount of words that can quantify our gratitude. Thank you. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
Okay guys, let's do this. Action.
You can deceive everyone, but you certainly cannot deceive me. I see you.
But if the package is faulty, there'll be no buyers.
So I suggest you sit down and have a talk with your husband.
So you have faith. Everything is possible.
You heard him, right?
You needed help and I helped you.
This place would do so. They also work in wolves.
You mean you still work for Matthew Osage?
What?
Nigerians, let us take responsibility. Stay healthy, stay safe, and curb the spread of the virus. Take responsibility. The coronavirus spreads from one person to another. Let us avoid crowd gathering of any kind for any reason. Take responsibility. Avoid traveling from one state to another during these lockdown restrictions. Obey all the rules that are put in place. Take responsibility. Stop spreading fake news and unverified reports about the coronavirus. There is no known cure for COVID-19. Take responsibility. Observe all the measures that can help stop the spread of the virus. Together, we can do this, but only if we take responsibility. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
Shabi, you still come back to this house?
Yeah? So you cannot even support your husband? Eh?
Support who? I thought you said men are the head of the family.
How to get here? Allah, how to get here?
Feminism is all about equal right and opportunity for women.
Settle your matter in your home.
You can't keep comparing Agatha and Uchechi. Agatha is Agatha. Uchechi is Uchechi.
Welcome Newcastle
travel to the Etihad Stadium on Premier League Live, showing on NTA this Wednesday from 5:30 p.m. The Premier League Live is brought to you by Access Bank and Baba Ijebu.
Welcome to Ibadan. The latest breakthrough by Oyo State Police Command is the arrest of notorious armed robber and kidnapper allegedly involved in the kidnap of son of former Minister of Health, Professor Isaac Adewale. Commissioner of Police Onwachuku Umowu says the police is also on the trail of criminals involved in rape and killing at Akinyele local government area of the state.
Oyo State Police Command, during a raid on kidnappers' hideout at Bodija area of Ibadan, arrested 2 suspects who have been on the wanted list of the police. They were alleged to have been involved in the kidnap of the son of a former Minister of Health. A suspected armed robber and kidnapper of the daughter of a quarry owner in Moniya was also arrested with cash, car, and motorcycle. Another suspect, who was said to have killed his girlfriend and threw her inside the well at Ojo area, was also nabbed.
Give her a slap, and that anger now is my hand to hit her neck on the back. Now further and struggle on the floor.
Oyo State Commissioner of Police, on resumption of office, had promised to work on consolidating the existing security architecture by providing adequate security and collaborate with security leaders to reduce crime in the state.
Police tactical teams and the unflinching support of the good people of Oyo State through credible information supplied to the police yielded good results and breakthrough.
A total of 32 suspects were paraded, while exhibits of various items like cell phones, cutlasses, charm, and cash were displayed in Ibadan. Wafia Animation Badmos, NTA News.
Motorists in Ijebu, they have continued to react to the upward review of the pump price of petrol, saying it will adversely affect the operations and cost of transportation. Correspondent Joel Pukwola reports that any filling station in Ijebu, they who are reluctant to sell at 122 per litre have all adjusted to 143 naira per litre pump price.
When petrol was 122 naira per litre, some filling stations in Ijebu were selling the commodity as high as 125 naira per litre. But the stations who were either too reluctant to adjust their meter to reflect the price when it was not favorable to them, adjusted their facilities immediately to reflect the current price of 143 naira per litre. The pump price at this filling station in Ijebu was promptly adjusted automatically from their headquarters just as they were about to dispense the product to their customers. Many motorists were caught unaware with the new price template, which they say will adversely affect their business.
There's nothing we can do. We imagine it, so it has mastered us for long.
If you talk to passenger now that you are going to Lagos, you are going to pay 5,000 naira, it's going to affect.
Passenger money are not changing, but the price of the fuel are changing.
While the motorists are lamenting, the oil marketers are smiling to the bank.
Immediately we hear that the price have been increased from 122 to 143 naira. Immediately we need to change our price.
With the transport sector yet to return to full capacity, the motorists are appealing to government to revert to the old price to reduce the burden on their business. In Ijebu, Joel Bukbola, NTA News.
That wraps up our contribution in Ibadan. Rest of Nationwide continues with Lydia in Abuja.
Many thanks, Larry. We now go to flood. The rains are here again, and averting the menace of flooding in the country requires the efforts of citizens and government to prevent devastating situations. This was part of submissions made by guests on NTA's Current Affairs program, Good Morning Nigeria, while alerting Nigerians on strategies for managing the 2020 flood predictions in the country. Butu Amila monitored the program and now reports.
As the world battles with the ravaging coronavirus pandemic, the rainy season is coming with its own challenges, as many Nigerian cities are already seeing an increase in rainfall, with many parts already experiencing flooding. However, guests on Good Morning Nigeria emphasized the need for integrated water management in curtailing this natural disaster.
Integrated water resource management. As early as February this year, Ogo River Basin Authority in Abuja that has a dam, Oyan Dam, built on Ogo River, began the seating, clearing, to deepen the carrying capacity of the dam, removing whatever debris that is inside, so that in the time of rain, like we already started having, the dam could still carry more.
If our dams are used for dry season irrigation farming, we will deplete most of the waters during the dry season. And then there will be enough space that when rain are coming, there won't be excess excess water in the dams.
The guest also advised the government and all agencies to be involved in carrying out aggressive awareness and enlightenment to Nigerians on the dangers of building in waterways and clogging their drains with refuse dumps.
All agencies in the state that are responsible with disaster management need to be well informed, well trained, and a workshop should be conducted to enlighten them.
We cannot stop water from flowing, but we must allow free access of the water to flow so that it will not damage anything.
The guests recommended further collaboration with the federal government and stakeholders to continue their efforts towards curtailing the menace of flooding in the country. In Abuja, Putumila, NTA News.
We now go to matters concerning security. The Nigerian military says several terrorists have been neutralized and a gun truck destroyed by the combined efforts of air and land forces at Gubio in the northern part of Borno State. A statement from the Defense Media Operations indicates that troops of Sector 3 and the Air Task Force of Operation Lafia Dole achieved the feat on July the 7th, 2020, when Boko Haram ISWAP elements attempted to breach Gubio town. NAF intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance aircraft provided situational awareness, while troops engaged the terrorists on the ground, inflicting further casualties on the terrorists. The Military High Command commends Operation Lafia Dole, urging intensified offensives against the terrorists and all other enemies of the country in the northeast, while working in concert with other security agencies and stakeholders. Meanwhile, Zamfara State government has donated 200 brand-new Hilux vehicles to various security agencies to complement federal government's commitment to end banditry and other related crimes in the state. The Chief of the Army Staff, represented by General Commanding Officer 3, Armored Division Jos, Major General Nuhu Angbazo, launched the distribution of the vehicles to the heads of the security agencies in Gusau. Sadia Abubakar Tinau has more.
The renewed commitment by the federal government to end banditry and other related crimes in Zamfara State is obviously yielding desired result, as farming activities are now picking up in most of the hitherto ravaged communities. The donation of 200 brand new Hilux vehicles to the security agencies by the Zamfara State government is therefore aimed at consolidating this gain by improving their operational capacity.
We will not leave any stone unturned based on the support that you have given us to ensure that the glory of Zamfara State comes back as a peaceful state.
His Excellency's strategy of bringing the security agencies together to synergize and operate as one force with adequate operational equipment like vehicles and even drones for intelligent gathering have put the security agencies' operation very effective.
Governor Bello Mohammed, who explained that the operational vehicles are well equipped with communication gadgets, reiterated the decision of the state government to continue to adopt dialogue while supporting the kinetic approach to addressing the security challenges.
We must join hands to defeat the menace of terrorism, kidnapping, and banditry, which over the years cripple our economy.
Recipients of the operational vehicles include the Army, the Navy, the Police, the DSS, the NSCDC, and the Nigerian Immigration Service, among others. In Gusau, Sadia Abubakar Chino, NTA News.
In our sports, National Youth Games has been a rallying point for sportsmen and women in Nigeria. In 5 previous editions, talents discovered subsequently go ahead to represent the nation in future international sporting events. The submission of sports code to PTF by the Youth and Sports Minister is gradually making organizers to think ahead for the 6th edition. In this special report, Kene Emagbodike takes us back to the beginning of the series and ways of sustaining it.
Introduced in December 2013, the National Youth Games first held at the National Stadium, Abuja, and was aimed at discovering budding under-17 athletes. The Games was designed to hold annually, but that was only achieved 3 times after the first edition, as paucity of funds hampered the series in 2014 and 2015. The 17 years age bar was reduced to 15 after the 3rd edition in 2017 to ensure that the youth development target is sustained.
I was there last year and I saw a 10-year-old, a 9-year-old doing well in gymnastics and some other, in chess too, and some other sports at that. So it is a good one. In the last 5 years, they have actually done well, and we encourage them to keep doing more and look into the talents and see how it goes.
The University of Ilorin, Kwara State has hosted every other edition of the National Youth Games since 2016. Delta State remains unbeaten in all 5 editions held so far, although podium finish is not of particular interest to the organizers, who emphasize more on talent discovery and nurturing. Hence, improving the series is paramount.
Basically, the sporting facilities have to be in top shape, have to be in top notch. The athletes' welfare has to be given a look in at what is given to them. And also the coaches also needs to upgrade themselves.
Sports federations in the country have a lot to do with the objectives of the National Youth Games.
We go to Ilorin every year. Athletes are discovered. What happens to these athletes after they are discovered? The federations are expected to take over those athletes, organize competitions for them, do summer camps for them and all those things. It should not always be Federal Ministry of Youth and Sport that will be doing all that.
The National Youth Games remains the surest avenue through which Nigeria can sustain its local supply of raw sporting talent for the future glory of the nation. And all hands must be on deck to keep the initiative alive. Now, barring the COVID-19 pandemic, the 6th edition of the national event is supposed to take place in Ilorin, of course, amidst great expectations. In Abuja, I am Kene Emagbodike, NTA News.
The body of the late Chief of Staff to the Kwara State Governor Alhaji Aminu Adisa Logun has been laid to rest according to Islamic rites and COVID-19 burial protocols. Raliat Ibrahim reports.
This here is the residence of the late Chief of Staff to the Governor, where he remains to be laid to rest according to Islamic rites. People are here sympathizing with the family, as it was indeed a sudden loss for his people and the state at large.
This wasn't the promise. This wasn't the promise now.
That was the mood at the residence of the late Chief of Staff to the Governor. The janaza was led by the Chief Imam of Ilorin, Imam Muhammad Bashir Soliu. Only few family members were allowed in to witness the burial. Secretary to the state government, Professor Mama Shaba Jibril, who led the state government's delegation, described the death of the Chief of Staff as a huge loss to the state.
Our Chief of Staff, Logun, has been very loyal and very dutiful to us in Kwara State as a very close friend to all of us. So his loss is really very painful.
He has left an irreparable mark, position within the family. So may Almighty Allah accept him as one of his servants.
It was a unifying factor. I've never seen him gotten angry with anybody.
The late Chief of Staff to the Kwara State Governor, Alhaji Aminu Adisa Logun, died on Tuesday, July 7 at the age of 73. He had tested positive to COVID-19. Raliat Ibrahim, NTA News.
And that concludes Nationwide. Thank you for being a part of it all. I am Lydia Odidi Ochi. Have a pleasant evening. Goodbye.